Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Pisces for August 2017. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, check out my blog, and if you would love to be an astrologer for your own self-development or professionally, or be a coach and help other people to reach their goals, check out my professional certification courses on my website. So what's going on in the month of August? As promised, we have more discussion about the eclipse boom, and that is the big story of this month. We have other transits that will be relevant that I will go into more details about at the end of the report, but we're going to concentrate this reading on the specific Pisces eclipse placements where those eclipses are likely to affect you in your chart. So the first eclipse is on August 7th. That is the full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Aquarius. Full moons bring things to completion. Lunar eclipse full moons bring things to completion in triplicate. So an ending is occurring with the full moon, especially with the eclipse. But sometimes it's a mini ending because we have the whole eclipse cycle of reshuffling of energy of Leo and Aquarius in the signs of Leo and Aquarius and the houses, which we're about to talk about in a second for you personally for Pisces. We have that going on 2017, 2018, well into 2019. So you might have an ending, but it might be like the ending of a chapter, not necessarily the ending of the book as far as it relates to this ongoing theme. If you listen to my reports regularly, I gave you a heads up last month that you can think back to 2008 and 2009 when we had this eclipse cycle last time, because that is going to be the arena, those are going to be the arenas of life that are most activated for you at this time. I had a question about the market crash at that time in 2008 and whether that was related to the eclipses or not. And actually, I believe that the market crash was related to Pluto going into Capricorn, because Pluto, boom, the atomic bomb went in and blew up Capricorn, the financial markets, and the whole business or scene in general. So I'm not predicting a major 2008 repeat as far as a recession and all of the things that went on there, major market correction. Although, you know, minor market corrections are just a part of the flow, and they might come as we have this reshuffling of energy with organizations, or large organizations are related to this eclipse cycle. But as far as that big blow up of the financial markets, I'm not seeing that as related to this cycle per se. Okay, of course, restructuring how organizations do their business while Pluto is still in Capricorn is definitely going to be an ongoing theme for this eclipse cycle. So the lunar eclipse is going to hit you early degree placements and most of you middle and late degree placements in the 12th house. So the lunar eclipse has this ending, something having put pressure on it, something being tested, a major occurrence occurring in your deep unconscious mind. The first place I go to for this has to do with addictions and has to do with fears. The 12th house is the deep unconscious, so it houses all of the collective unconscious. It houses genealogical patterns, it houses archetypal energy, it houses the fears that we don't think about often, but they're looming underneath, and also addictions are there. So there might be some sort of culmination. Oh, and this is also your mental stability. So there could be some sort of culmination as it relates to one of those issues and some sort of ending. But there's a really great chance that with this event, you could steer in a whole new positive direction. So it's very Harry Potter-like in the way that it's this having to deal with this major fear or major issue. And then as you break through, you have more freedom and more happiness. So the early degree placements, I said that early, middle, and late degree placements all have a chance to feel this eclipse in the 12th house. Early degree placements are the ones that are in the first third of the sign. So basically the first 10 days in the, that the sun is in Pisces. The middle degree placements are the second 10 days, and then the late degree placements are the last 10 days. If you're watching for your rising sign, it's the first 0 through 9 degrees is early, 10 through 19 is middle, and 20 through 29 is late. For some of you middle and late degree placements, you have the chance to experience this eclipse energy in your 11th house. Your 11th house has to do with actually the energy of Aquarius. So we're talking about a sign of Aquarius, which is where the eclipse is happening for everyone. And then we're talking about the house of Aquarius, where it could happen for fewer amount of people. But in any case, this ending having to do with a friendship, a social circle, a team, an association with an organization, a humanitarian effort, an internet-based project, something having to do with a societal norm or a viewpoint on societal norms or a relationship with what society thinks that you should do. For some people, it will be a casting off of adherence to the mainstream. And that's going to be for everyone, a general occurrence, but especially for you middle and late degree Pisces, there's this really strong energy of this asking the question, why do we care what people think? Pisces energy is very sensitive in general, and it doesn't, it just wants everything to be love, and niceness. So that, the criticism of the general society can be very heavy on a sensitive Pisces. So there could be a release of attachment to societal norms. That's a very big way that can come up. And, really for any early, middle, or late degree placement, this occurrence could happen because maybe someone has a fear of the societal issues, so it would fall in the 12th house for them. But in any case, that is the energy we're talking about. So the solar eclipse energy opens up new energy. It's a new window opening, new projects, new ideas, new opportunities. And this is a really beautiful new moon. It's got beautiful aspects associated with it, which I'll get into later. And so for all of you, early, middle, and late degree placements, you'll be experiencing this in the 6th house. Some of you early degree placements, you could have some of that energy in the 7th house, which I'll talk about. And you very late degree energies, you could have a little bit of this in the 5th house, which I'll talk about. But the general experience for Pisces at this new opening has to do with your 6th house. Your 6th house has to do with health, diet, nutrition, anything medical, your body-mind connection, the Pisces Virgo polarity that's being worked with here for you Pisces specifically has to do with your mind and body connection, the fact that it's not separate. The 6th house also has to do with your daily work, your office dynamics, how you use your energy as far as organization, what your daily work schedule or daily routine looks like. So major new opportunities for awesome changes in your work experience, associations with animals or pets. Many people will get a new pet under this transit, although I do want to point out if you are purposely looking for an animal to adopt, try to stay away from the Mercury retrograde cycle because it tends to lend itself to shorter term experiences with animals. And if you're trying to adopt an animal, you probably want it to be a long-term thing. So if one comes to you and you have to make a decision about it, if you can wait until, mid to late September, that would be better. We often feel the eclipse energies before or after the actual eclipses happen. So although August is the eclipse month, this energy has been brewing since the beginning of 2017 and will continue going well into 2019. So this is an ongoing story. So if you're feeling this pull towards an animal, try to wait till the transits are a little bit better unless it happens to come to you and there's something you can do. So many of Pisces will start a new health regimen, new supplement regimen, new diet, will try on some sort of new way of eating and have it really work for them. Empowerment in the workplace and improvements in schedule. For those early placements, you could feel some of this in the 7th house, which means new relationship of importance, of major importance, romantic, business, client, friendship, neighbor, something, anything like that. So it could come in that way. And you later degree placements, you could have something new come in the energy of the 5th house, which has to do with children and romance and fun and hobbies. So those are the things that are most on my mind for how the eclipses are going to be hitting you personally. Now I want to talk more about the general eclipse transits that will affect everyone, including you, and also the other aspects throughout the month, the good ones and the challenging ones and those dates, so that you can navigate around and understand what's coming. So the eclipses definitely dominate the astrological scene for August for all signs, but there are other aspects that I want to talk about that will affect you as well, and this will affect all signs. Right from the beginning, we've got Jupiter in Libra square Pluto in Capricorn. This is the third time that this has happened. The first time was November 24th of 2016. The second pass was March 30th of 2017. And here on August 4th, we have the final chapter. So this has been an ongoing saga having to do with the challenges of connecting with people in order to bring about something into the world. Jupiter in Libra has to do with relationships. Pluto in Capricorn has to do with business and things in the outer view, the public eye. And a square is a conflicted angle. So that means there's something to push through in order to get to the outcome. So the impetus lies in the aspect and also the blocks, so that's what brings the frustration, is that there's this pressure to join together and get something out into the world. But then the blocks and the challenges are also wrapped up in the transit. So there should be some resolution, some final conclusion here. One of the pieces is going to have to do with competition. Whenever we subscribe to the third dimensional belief in competition, there always creates this hamster wheel angst that you never really get out of. But one of my favorite teachers, Florence Scovel Shin, always says, or said, as I read her work, she's passed now a long time ago, there's no competition on the spiritual planes. And that's true. Infinite Spirit has a purpose for us that only we can fill. And you can take marketing data into consideration, you can take third dimensional realities into consideration. But ultimately, what you do in this world has to do with you and Infinite Spirit and your purpose. So the more you can ease into that higher vibrational view of this, whatever you're merging together to do to bring out into the world, you're going to have a much better experience and much better outcomes. So even though I give you the dates of these transits, remember that you can always have the possibility to feel the energies in a manifestation before or after that date. Okay, so don't hang your hat too heavily on the dates that I give you. So also important to note that I am giving you information about specific transits, as I always do, but you can get a more detailed write-up of the general transits that affect everyone when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. I send out a month early a written version of the summary of the energy of the month ahead, along with some highlights. If you have signed up for my newsletter already and you're not getting it, I send it out every month early, like clockwork, usually a month early. So if you're not getting it, it's probably going into social promotions, events folder or something like that. So check in there, spam, check in there and move it back into your inbox so that you can get them in a timely basis. Okay, so we talked about the eclipses at length as far as the individual effects for the signs, but we do have general effects for the eclipses as well. The first one is on August 7th. It's a full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Aquarius. We're moving along this continuum that started at the beginning of 2017 that has to do with a reshuffling of energy in the arenas of large organizations, humanitarian efforts, internet-based projects, teams, groups, friendships, circles, whatever kind of circles you find yourself in. That's all Aquarius. So some sort of reshuffling of energy. Some people will be focusing more in those realms, and some people will be focusing more on their own individual desires against the societal norms, which we'll talk about when we get over to the solar eclipse for later in the month. But this lunar eclipse is coming packing a lot of punch because the event also opposes Mars, which increases the likelihood of some sort of conflicted ending or a conflicted completion. Full moon eclipses tend to bring lots of drama, lots of emotion, and some sort of culmination, an ending or something coming to fruition. But with that aspect with Mars, it could be a conflicted ending. There's also a simultaneous nice aspect with Saturn that could bring very positive and strong foundation for present and future security. And there's an additional trine with Jupiter. Anything having to do with a wonderful aspect with Jupiter always is going to bring more enthusiasm, more hope, more faith, and expanded outcomes. So we've got some sweet aspects on the 10th and 11th and 12th. Then on the 12th and 13th, depending on which time zone you're in, Mercury is going to go into retrograde, and that will be at 11 degrees of Virgo. Mercury goes retrograde 3 or 4 times a year. So we really spend half of our lives in one part of the retrograde transit, either the shadow period that occurs before or the shadow period that occurs after or the actual retrograde. You can look at my video called Mercury Retrograde if you do a search for Annie Botticelli, Mercury Retrograde. I talk about the do's and don'ts and the understandings that it's important to carry. But basically, a lot of pressure is put on weak links that already exist with communication devices, mobility, transportation devices. So any weak links that are there are going to be turned up, so old things that were swept under the rug as far as communication often just blow right out to be dealt with. And often things, people, ideas from the past roll in now for reconsideration. It's not always the best time to make the long-term decision if you can help it. So even though these eclipses and retrograde are going to bring some things right into the forefront, if you can wait until later into September, like at least mid to end September, to really commit to a longer term situation, that would be better because you're not going to have all the information. Okay, so we've got a nice aspect with the Sun and Saturn on August 13th, where your desires receive enthusiastic support. The 15th, we've got, and actually there's another aspect with Venus on the 24th. So there are 2 challenging aspects with Venus this month, the 15th and the 24th, that are going to bring, some tension, either with self-esteem, aesthetics, appearance, romance, your relationships in general of any kind, or money. So there's pressure put on Venus this month, and you'll see that come up in little or big ways. Then we have a nice aspect on August 20th with the Sun trining Uranus. So sometimes sudden insights and exhilarating awarenesses or experiences could come in with that. On the 21st, we've got this very powerful new moon solar eclipse at almost 29 degrees of Leo. So this is the second new moon in Leo that we have, which adds a lot of power. Also, new moon solar eclipses are like new openings in triplicate, just as full moons are closings, endings, drama, conclusions, 3 times as powerful as a regular full moon. The new moon eclipses have the opening energies and the new energies 3 times that of a regular new moon. And this is a beautiful new moon. We've got a beautiful aspect with Uranus, which brings, more surprises, happy surprises. Then we have a beautiful aspect with Saturn, which brings, again, this long-term stable factor, which seems to be a theme this month, like certain things starting to click in for future security. And so when you have a solar eclipse, it's an opening. And when you have a solar eclipse in Leo, it has to do with openings in creativity, so anything having to do with children. But for some people, their creative projects are their children. So whether you're conceiving a child or conceiving a creative idea, that process of conception to pregnancy to birth to child or project rearing is all dominated by Leo. So there's going to be lots of new openings there. And for people who already have children, new experiences and, dimensions of parenting. There's also energy associated with athleticism, acting, modeling, directing, fun hobbies, true love. Many, many, many people are going to enter new dimensions of romance with this aspect, which is really exciting. So we've got that on the 21st, and on the 22nd, we have Mars in Leo trining Saturn and Sag. And again, this is a nice boost where action and outcomes blend beautifully. We've got a nice aspect on August 23rd to the 24th with Venus and Chiron, which shows that when we do emotional inner work, in those places where we're wounded, it brings positive gains. On the 24th, so simultaneously with this nice aspect with Chiron, we have a square with Uranus. I alluded to this earlier when I talked about the difficult aspect with Venus on the 15th. When Venus squares Uranus, the bringer of change in a feisty expression in Aries, makes an uncomfortable angle to love, money, and aesthetics. So there's many ways that can look, So definitely having the Venus in Cancer is going to promise emotional jostling from this unpredictable Uranus energy. August 25th, Saturn goes direct at 21 degrees of Sag. This officially ends the break that we've had as Saturn was in retrograde. Saturn is a chop buster. That's what I always call Saturn. Saturn wants discipline, it's a taskmaster, and it wants organization and it wants hard work. And that type of energy doesn't blend well with Sagittarius, the sign that it's in, because Sag is all about free flowing and, not being consistent and all the things that we love about Sagittarius don't mix well with the energy of Saturn. So we've had a break from Saturn kind of forcing us to take these big Sag ideals and dreams and do the hard work, consistent work for bringing those dreams down into the third dimension. We've had a little break from that, but now the break is over. So for the rest of the year, we're going to have to get our nose back to the grindstone and take the daily steps to bringing the dreams into fruition. So when Saturn moves through Sag, it's also a serious faith tester, so we've got the rest of the year for Saturn to sort of weigh heavy on faith, but the more you can stay connected to faith throughout this Saturn transit, the better it will be. And then we end off with a nice aspect with the Sun and Mercury, but that can also mean some powerful criticism, the same aspects that can be something positive, like some bright news, when the Sun and Mercury join together, they enhance each other's qualities. There could be some powerful news that comes in, but Virgo is also really critical. So there could be some harsh criticism that comes in too. So just keep your head up with that. So if you would love to have astrology, to learn astrology in a visceral way, a way that helps you to blend more naturally with the planetary rhythms, then maybe you'll love to take my astrology apprenticeship program. You can see more about it on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Click on work with me. Whether you want to use astrology for your own personal developments or to help your friends and family and yourself to understand karmic patterns, understand what your highest expression is in this lifetime and how you overcome the karmic patterns to step into that, even if you want to do it professionally, then check out my astrology apprenticeship program. If you'd like to be a coach, a wellness coach, a business coach, a spiritual coach of any kind, helping people to reach their goals, then maybe you will love my coach course, which is also enrolling. And that's also combined with my online business course so that you can help create a presence online and develop your coaching business for an online basis. So check that out, anniehelpsyou.com. Also check out my husband B.R. Newman's new tarot reports for each sign. You can look him up, B.R. Newman, Neumann. IamHelios.com is his website. So you can see what he says about your sign as far as the tarot report, and that supplements what I've just shared with you. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.